And the Lord said to Samuel,
"How long will you mourn for Saul, seeing I have rejected him from reigning over Israel? Fill your horn and go. I'm sending you to Jesse the Bethlehemite, for I have provided myself a king among his sons."
"Oh Lord, how can I go? If Saul hears it, he'll kill me."
"Take a heifer with you. Say, I have come to sacrifice to the Lord. Then invite Jesse to the sacrifice."
Samuel did what the Lord had said and went to Bethlehem. The elders of the town trembled at his coming and said,
"Samuel, do you come in peace?"
"Peaceably, I have come to sacrifice to the Lord. Sanctify yourselves and come with me to the sacrifice." Then Samuel consecrated Jesse and his sons. After the consecration, he invited them to the sacrifice. "Jesse, present your sons." "Surely the Lord's anointed is before him."
Do not look at his appearance or physical stature, because I have refused him.
For God does not see as man sees. For man looks at the outward appearance, but God looks at the heart. Afterwards, Jesse commanded Abinadab to pass by.
"The Lord has not chosen this one, Shammah. Neither has the Lord chosen this one. The Lord has not chosen these. The Lord has not chosen this one. Do you have any other sons?"
Yeah, I have, and he's the youngest, and here he is keeping the sheep."
"Bring him, for we shall not sit down until he comes here." So he sent and brought him in. Now he was ruddy, with bright eyes and good looking. And the Lord said,
Anoint him, for he is the one.
But the Spirit of the Lord departed from Saul, and a distressing spirit troubled him. Distressing spirit from the Lord is troubling you. Command me to bring a man that can play a harp, so when he plays it, you shall feel better.
Provide me now a man who can play it well, then bring him to me.
Okay. Yes, I know someone who can play for you. One of Jesse's sons, the Bethlehemite, who is skillful in playing, a man of valor, a man of war, and the Lord is with him.
Tell Jesse to bring his son David to me, and let him play for me.
Yes, Lord. Jesse, the king sent for one of your sons to play the harp, David. So Jesse took a donkey, loaded it with bread, a skin of wine, and the young goat, and sent them by his son David to King Saul. So David came to King Saul and stood before him, and he loved him greatly, and he became his armor-bearer. And so it was, whenever the Spirit from God come upon Saul, that David would take a harp and play it with his hands. Then Saul would become refreshed and well, and the distressing spirits would depart from him. And side, and Israel stood on a mountain on the other side, with a valley between them. And Saul and the men of Israel were gathered together, and they settled in the valley of Eli, and drew up a battle array against the Philistines. He had bronze armor on his leg, and a bronze javelin between his shoulders. Now the staff of his spear was like a weaver's beam. His height equals 6 cubits, and his span, which is 117 inches. Imagine a cubit is 18 inches. 12 inches equals 1 foot. So Goliath from Gath is 9.75 feet. And his iron spearhead weighed 600 shekels. And a shield bearer went before him. Then he stood and cried out to the armies of Israel and said to them,
Why have you come out to line up for battle? Am I not a Philistine, and you, the servants of Saul? Choose a man for yourselves and let him come down to face me. If he is able to fight and kill me, then we shall be your servants. But if I am able to fight and kill him, then you shall be our servants. I refuse to obey the armies of Israel this day. Give me a man that we may fight together.
When Saul and all Israel heard the words of the Philistine, they were troubled and greatly afraid.
Now, David was the son of that Ephraite of Bethlehem, Judea, whose name was Jesse, who had 8 sons. And the man was old, advanced in years in the days of Saul. The 3 oldest sons of Jesse had gone to follow Saul to the battle. The names of his 3 sons who went to the battle were Eliab the first, Abinadab the second, and Shammah the third. Now David was the youngest, and the 3 oldest followed Saul, but David occasionally went and returned from Saul to feed his father's sheep at Bethlehem. Jesse said to his son David, Jesse, take now for your brothers an ephah of this dried grain, 10 loaves, and run to your brothers at the camp, and carry these 10 cheese to the captain of their 1,000, and see how your brothers fare, and bring back news of them.
So David rose early in the morning, left the sheep with the keeper, and took the things and went as Jesse had commanded him.
And he came to the camp as the army was going out to the fight and shouting for the battle. For Israel and the Philistines had drawn up in battle array, army against army. There was the champion, the Philistine of Gath, Goliath by name, coming up from the armies of the Philistines. And he spoke according to the same words.
I refuse to obey the armies of Israel this day. Give me a man that we may fight together. Now run.
David heard them, and all the men of Israel, when they saw the man, fled from him and were dreadfully afraid. So the men of Israel said, speaking to David,
What shall be done for the man who kills this Philistine and takes away the reproach from Israel? Who is this uncircumcised Philistine that defies the armies of the living God?
the king will grant him riches and give him his daughter in hand of marriage, and him and his family will have exemption in paying taxes.
What are you doing here? What are you doing here?
Is that not a curse?
When the Philistine looked about and saw David, he disdained him, for he was only a youth, ruddy and good-looking. So Goliath said to David,
Am I a dog that you come to me with sticks?
You come to me with a sword, a spear, and with a javelin, but I come to you with the Lord of hosts. God of Israel, whom you have defied, will deliver me into your hands, and I will strike you and take your head from you. And this day I will give the carcasses of the camp of the Philistines to the birds of the air and the wild beasts of the earth, and the earth may know that there is a God, and then all the assemblies shall know that the Lord does not save with sword and spears, for the Lord is the battle, and God will deliver you into our hands.
Then David put his hand in his bag and took out a stone, and he slung it and struck the Philistine in his forehead, so that the stone sank into his forehead, and he fell on his face to the earth. So David prevailed over the Philistine with a sling and a stone, and struck the Philistine and killed him. But there was no sword in the hand of David. Therefore David ran and stood over the Philistine, took his sword and cut off his head with it. And when the Philistines saw that their champion was dead, they fled. Now the men of Israel and Judah rose and shouted, and pursued the Philistines as far as the entrance of the valley and the gates of Ekron.